Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly. Along with James Smith, I'm Lyle Stokes, and James, we're going to have a blast tonight.
Yes, sir.
We got Jeremy in here tonight with Creole Catfishing, and we're going to get to him in just a little bit. But first off, I would like to say, James, I know you've been busting it. You had that hurricane wind come through down there and tear up your buildings and stuff. And I know you've been hitting it really hard every day, wearing yourself out, trying to get that mess cleaned up. And man, we're hoping you get everything done and it all lines out, that nothing serious goes wrong down there. And don't work yourself to death. There'll be another day, buddy.
Oh yeah, it's just life. Crap happens, and you just deal with it. Grab a chainsaw and go to cutting and keep getting it. That's all you can do.
Well, that's exactly right. And I know I've talked to you about every day here the last few days, and I know you've been hitting it hard. But and there's other people down there in your area, I'm sure that have them too, and we all need to keep them folks in thoughts and prayers, because it's a tough deal. Could have been a lot worse, and you didn't get hurt. That's the main thing. But still, it's a lot of work getting that stuff straightened out, and we're sure thinking about you, buddy.
That's right. I appreciate the sentiments, guys.
So, with that being said, you got anything else we need to start out with tonight?
No, sir. I'm excited about having old Mr. Creole on here and talk a little bit about a different way of fishing, a different part of our country.
Yep. Well, you know what? Before this show started, we was almost late because you and Jeremy and I caught a whole pile of fish before the show.
That's the best. That's the best ones. Is the one you talk about.
I think you're right, and it was a blast. Jeremy, welcome to Catfish Weekly. Thank you so much for spending your Monday with us. We appreciate it.
I'm honored to be here. Truly, I'm telling you.
I gotta turn a fan on. Excuse me.
Oh, dude, we're so happy to have you on here. I told James I thought it would be a great idea. I live in the Midwest United States off the Mississippi River, but I'm way, way, way north of you.
Oh, yeah.
You live way down south. James, he lives out east. And we all do the same thing, but we all do it a little different.
That's right.
And I thought it would be really fun to talk about what you do, how James goes about his stuff, and the things that we do. Now, with that being said, I used to fish the Mississippi a lot. That's in my mind. I don't care what anybody says. There's no place in the United States that has fishing like the Mississippi River, and that includes all of its tributaries. I know there's places that catch great fish on some of these lakes, but it ain't the same. It's just not. And
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and you have got a spot down there that was proven in the couples tournament.
Yeah.
To not just have big fish, it's got a lot of fish. And why don't you tell us about your fishery?
Well, what we've got is the area, everybody local calls it Three Rivers. If you would imagine like a big H, on the right side of the H, which would be to the east, is the Mississippi River. The left side of the H, starting at the top, is the Red River. Then it stops at the crossbar of the H. Then right at that point, the Atchafalaya River starts and comes down. Now, the crossbar of the H is a set of massive outflow channels that run from a hydroelectric plant, 2 big dams, and a navigation channel that connect the Mississippi to the Atchafalaya and the Red River for all the barge traffic and for flood control. Between the hydro and the 2 dams, they make sure that 70% of the water remains down the Mississippi and only lets 30% come into the Atchafalaya. Because if it wouldn't be for that, the Mississippi would have jumped its channel into the Atchafalaya probably back in the 60s or the 70s. So that's the area we fish. We call it Three Rivers. I do probably 80% of my fishing in the Atchafalaya and those outflow channels. But the Mississippi River is just across the gates from where we're at. And my tournament spot and now my bumping spot Same thing. It's two different structures, but the Mississippi is just across the gates.
Awesome.
That's right. Sound like a heck of a fishery to me, don't it, you Law?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. It's amazing.
I've argued for years and years that now I've never fished outside Louisiana. I never have. I've hardly fished away from home, to be honest. But I hear all these people talk about these big lakes. There's catfish here. There's catfish there. I will put my home waters up against anybody in the country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if somebody like me who don't know nothing can go catch these big fish consistently, I'd love to see what some of y'all experienced guys could come do in these waters.
Yeah, I would love to come down there and fish, but we got to make a deal where I get down there before Chadwick Fields gets down there. I mean, I have to be first. I got to be first.
Better hurry up.
It's not fair for him to butt in line from me knowing I'm getting ready to have a shoulder worked on, and if I show up, I can't fish. So that's not right.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, when you jump on the plane, you give me a holler, and I'll jump on one, and I'll just meet you down there.
There you go.
I got to tell you, it wouldn't really matter to me if I got to do any of the fishing or not. I seen the man cook, and I'm all over some of that action too.
Hey, I worked with an old boy. He was from that. Hey, I'll say Creole. He was from your neck of the woods, and he used to make up some of the best jambalaya and some of the best. What's the other one that most people up here we know, but
Gumbo.
Gumbo. And he'd make two different pots. One pot I couldn't eat; it'd be too freaking hot. The other pot, because it'd set you on fire in the going in and coming out.
Both ways.
But I missed some of that good cooking. That son of a gun, man, he could cook. He'd come in and do a big boil. And all of us, we wouldn't be worth the crap for the next 12 hours at work, man. He'd kill us, but golly, I miss that good eating.
Look, y'all just need to rent y'all a big old bus and just haul pretty much everybody. It's probably in chat right now. Just haul everybody down here. I'll look. Y'all stand on the bank. I'll bring y'all out in my boat, 3 or 4 at a time. It might take 2 weeks, but we go get everybody out there.
Well, we was at Winter Blues on Wheelers a few years ago, and there was several of us got together, and I had never had crawfish, and they boiled crawfish, and we ate. There's videos of this lady teaching me how to do it because I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah,
to get them out of there. And there ain't much in them babies, but it's worth getting them out of there for. And
now I ain't gonna suck the brains though. You can hang that up.
I done. She said you got to do it, so I done it.
Yeah, I done it, but I ain't gonna say it was my favorite.
Look, and you see that reminds me. My brother went to college at LC in Pineville. One of his roommates was from Oklahoma. Same thing. Never ate crawfish before. So of course you tell people like us that's a challenge. Hey, come on down. We gonna feed you. This guy comes over here. Look, he dove in head first, got everything, man, eating. He's having a good time. Well, my dad tells him, hey, look, if you go do this right, you got to suck the heads. Well, he didn't give exact instructions. So instead of putting his mouth on the end of the shell, he turns around and actually starts sucking on the head where the eyeballs are. We thought we were going to lose our mind. Look, I admired his enthusiasm, but like, hey, no, you got to turn it around.
Yeah.
You gotta turn it around.
Yeah, turn it around.
Oh, man.
This little gal spent a lot of time teaching me how to eat them. It was worth every bit of it. And there was several of us in this cabin down at Wheeler Lake, and we absolutely had a blast. And I never had any food that was any better than what I had that night. And it was absolutely wonderful. But she'd laugh and show me how to do that. And they because, I don't have that kind of stuff going on up here where I'm at. And I was thrilled to be it because I'd been wanting it for a long time. I wanted to try them. And the next thing you know, we was in the middle of it, and I didn't leave until I was so full. I felt like a tick crawling across the dog's back, but it was worth every bit of it. If I get down there where they have that stuff, I'll be in the middle of it again someplace. I promise.
The season's coming soon now because it's going to start here about February, beginning of February, or something like that, and it usually runs till just past Easter. So you got a good gap in there to slide on down here.
Sounds
right down here in Clover, South Carolina, about 15, 20 miles from me, probably not even that far. There's two nice ponds out in the middle of this field. And I always thought, man, I want to stop and hit that. That's back when I used to chase them pond bass and big pond bass. No. Them things are very shallow and they full of crawfish. And that's what they do. They raise crawfish in them and sell them to some of the local restaurants.
Yep.
And I've seen some big old freaking crawfish come out of them places.
Oh, man. Sounds good. Boys, I'd like to take just a minute here to announce some of the people that's in our chat tonight. We got Paula Smith, Stan Smith, avid catfisherman, Kevin H., Palmetto Cats, Half Crazy Catfishing, A Couple Crosses Fishing, that'd be Betty Jean, I'm sure, Katie Collins. Brandon might be with her. Who knows? It's hard to tell if she let him in there or not. Catfishing Crappie Mark, Glenn's Catfishing Adventures, great video today, Glenn. Wicked Catfishing, Catfishing Katie Collins, Avid, Fin Seeker, Jeremy Beecham, my buddy from up in the Kansas City area. K&B. Before the show even got started, they got kicked out, timed out by the dockery. So I see he let them back in. I don't know how long that'll last. Richard Ward, Mr. Gadget, Half Crazy. Paul, I got her. Laura DeVore. Do you know her?
That's my wife.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's my wife. She's right there in the living room.
She was commenting on the food there a while ago, but it got away from us. David Funk, Catfishing Headhunters, Andrew D.
That's my brother.
Dieter Melhorn Fishing. Welcome, Dieter. Glad to see you in tonight. 1 Ton Catfish Club. Wicked Catfishing. I don't know that there's LG Bass. Watched him today on a live feed with the 1 Ton guys. ACC Gaming. Did I miss any?
Fin Seeker, Hagen Grubbs is in the house tonight.
Welcome, Hagen.
Mike Irvin.
Another good video Hagen had out.
Muskrat. Prayers going out to Mr. Muskrat. I heard he's got the
absolutely. I got the coach.
His family's sick too. Mike Sampson's in here. Kentucky, and I think Mr. Gadget said burning in and burning out.
Well, we want to keep Roger and his family in thoughts and prayers. Not only has he been diagnosed with COVID, but his family members are not feeling good either. So keep them all in your thoughts and prayers. Anna's in here tonight. Little Buckets of Sunshine. Gabe, that must be your son.
Yes, that's my oldest boy, Gabe. That's right.
David Martin, I need to get a hold of you really bad. I really do.
I'll get him your number. I'll talk to him a good bit.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
he's a good guy.
I think so too. We'll get some more of you guys later if we missed any of you. We're not doing it on purpose, but you guys are rolling through the chat pretty quick tonight, and we want to visit with Jeremy some more. So Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
I seen that you have done anchor fishing, and I know for a fact that you've now done some bumping.
A little bit.
Enough to get your personal best.
Yeah. My second fish ever bumping in my life was my PB.
Hey, man, congratulations. What a great video that was.
Oh, man, and, it was fun making it. Let me tell you, we had a blast.
I've told you this before, but for me, it doesn't matter if I'm watching you or James or Dieter or who it is. I like to watch everybody catch fish. But if you didn't catch fish and you was entertaining, I'd watch you regardless. And I mean that. And that's one thing that makes Hagen and his son such a standout, because they don't always catch fish. And sometimes they get in trouble with their boat on the water. Things go wrong. He tells the story and makes it entertaining. And that's one of the things that makes Hagen a standout, and he's going to go way far in this world. Now, K&B, on the other hand, it doesn't matter if they're catching fish or not. They're just funny.
Yeah.
Funny is entertaining to me. I love to watch people. It's funny. Now, Dieter is educational. A lot of his stuff is educational. That is entertaining to me. So
That's
there
right.
has to be an
Learned a lot.
entertainment factor. Yeah, that goes on. But you learning how to bump, doing it for the first time in that video, and did you say that was with your father?
That was with my younger brother, Andrew.
Your younger brother. Okay.
My brother.
Neither one of you knew anything about it.
No.
But
No,
you made it happen.
like I said, my knowledge of bumping was actually watching Hagen Grubb's video. I think he called it Bumping for Beginners. I know I watched it 15 times. I had to. He got his watch hours for the year off of me, watching that video over and over and over. And then what topped it off was when we had Mike Greenwell on a show. He's the one that taught me basically how to control my boat, because he has this exact trolling motor I do.
Yeah.
He answered my questions. It was a couple of things I was wondering about. He confirmed what I thought. I took Hagen's advice on how to do it, Mike's advice on how to control the boat, and 200 feet later, we had a 48-pounder.
There you go.
By the time we got the fish in the boat, we were a quarter mile down the river. Motored back up, started over again. 200 feet later again, bam, 53 PB. And it just kept rolling from there.
Well, I will tell you that there's 100 ways to back bottom bounce. Will they all work? Evidently they do. Everybody catches fish doing them differently. I have a certain setup that I use when I'm back bottom bouncing. Nobody else uses it. They don't like it, and I don't care because I catch fish on it whenever they're biting, and it works for me. People see it and they say, "Oh, they can't get to that hook." Well, they get to it for me.
Apparently they do. Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to continue using that. I've been using it for years and years, and it works, and it works really well. But I'm not going to tell somebody else what they're doing is wrong unless they ask me if do I need to do something different.
Yeah.
And the first thing I'm going to say is, are you catching fish? And if they say yes, then you don't need to learn something different unless you just want a different technique. And that would include the way you tie your bait on, or the way you set your thing up, whether you're using 3-way swivels or 2-way swivels. You know, there's a million ways to do it. And unless you ask, if you're catching fish, there's no wrong way to catch fish. I don't care if you're using chicken, man. It's no wrong way to catch fish.
Exactly.
Oh, it's only dumb if it doesn't work.
That's right. That's exactly right. And if it don't work, then it's the wrong way that day.
Yeah,
it may not be the wrong way tomorrow, but it's the wrong way that day. And that's just, hey, there's Maurice. We missed Maurice. Glad to see Maurice in here tonight.
He'll come in.
SK the Crappie King is in here. I need to visit with you too, my friend. I got something I want to ask your opinion about. And if you would message me on Facebook how I can contact you other than leaving a message on your videos, I have a serious question I would like to get an honest answer for. And I know he's going to be ready to make some bluegill videos for long, and I can't wait for that. I dearly love them bluegill videos. So,
but you're right, Lyle, about that. It just because it was wrong today don't make it wrong tomorrow. Just because it don't work for us here don't mean it won't work for you there and different waters. It's all of knowing what you are capable of doing with the equipment that you have on hand.
That's right.
Everything is a tool. Knowing what tool for what job that you got ahead of you will make your day turn out a lot better.
That's right.
It's all about paying attention to what the fish are telling you to do and what your body of water is telling you to do. You know, when I first started,
and take them blinders off.
Yeah. When I first started doing this, the only reference I had was a few old friends who knew what they were doing, willing to share their advice, and the massive amount of YouTube videos out there. Now, I've never watched a video 100% where absolutely every aspect of what they did worked for me. But it's a place to start. It got me going. Then just through paying attention, taking a few notes, remembering what worked and what didn't, I make slight modifications to the way we do things, and then you start catching fish, and it gives you a place to start at least. But just because something works for this guy and that's the best bait man ever made for his body of water, does not mean you're going to catch here. Gizzard shad is a perfect example. There are thousands of people that will use gizzard shad and gizzard shad only. I have had very little success with gizzard shad. I've fished with it a lot. The only time I've caught fish on gizzard shad kind of consistently is to cut a flapper rig with them, where they bleed a lot, and then not many fish. It just doesn't work where I am. Doesn't mean it's not a good bait. It's not a good bait for me.
Here's where the concept of what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, you being south, me being Midwest, and James being on the east, where this comes into play. Now, for me, whether I'm fishing the lake or I'm fishing a river in the winter time, when we fish the winter a lot or normally do, skipjack don't perform. Up here, you want shad. And if you're in the lakes up here, you have to have shad or you're going to go home empty-handed the majority of the time. But even in the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers, in the dead part of winter, shad will be the bait of choice. Now, I take it from what you're telling me, that's not the case down south.
It's closer to the opposite here. In my experience, the colder the water gets, the better the slicker is for bait.
What about you, James?
Well, we don't have skipjack here, but as far as the gizzard shad, I like gizzard shad in the wintertime. I think it's, to me, I think because the shad is more apt to be balling up and have big, giant schools that are easy for them to come across these catfish laying on the bottom. It's easy food. They can lay there, old flathead, he got them eyes on top of his head, he's watching over. Blues can scoop right up, get them a mouthful of shad, and lay back down in the mud. I think the shad is the idea, but now we have people here like Matthew Anthony. That rascal kills catfish year-round with white perch.
Yep.
But that's the difference. Matthew is an all-around great fisherman. So he's going to know when and where to put that bait on that fish's mouth, not dragging it beside him 20 foot away, but putting it on top of him where the bait's easy accessible.
That's right.
That way, he might not want that typical bait, but he ain't going to turn it down because it put him on his lips.
They are opportunistic feeders.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different ways. Perch is good probably year-round in North Carolina around this area where no skipjack are. But, you know, who's to say? Dieter fishes my same waters, and he's catching them on chicken. Now, David Martin, he's catching them on perch. I love, and Lyle hates me because of this, I love game fish. I'll cut up a ditch pickle and a sacrolet or a crappie in a heartbeat.
I love that name, ditch pickle. Oh,
yeah, I only hate it because I can't use them damn green carp. But
hey, I love them. That's my biggest fish has come on bass. Largemouth bass.
Hagen Grubb's got a question for you before you get too carried away. He wants to know what you call them skips.
Slicker.
Slicker, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call them. Slicker. We got a different name.
I knew what it was, but he didn't catch it. He wanted to hear it again.
Now, question on that. Now, you was talking about the shad and also the slickers or skipjack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe it's because at certain seasons you have more of that bait in the water than others? That might be the reason that you're only getting a few bites here and there on shad and better on skipjack, or do you think that don't have nothing to do with it?
To be honest, we have a massive amount of both kinds of fish in our waters. Massive amount. I mean, these guys, they got guys down here that make a living solely dipping shad with massive nets, catching tons a day, every day, and selling them to the crawfish farmers for bait. We've got a ton of everything in the water. I mean, you may have one year where they may have more than others, but it's still just an incredible amount. I in my heart believe that the slicker is just oilier, greasier, and bloodier, and it just attracts. And I say that because I don't remember catching any good fish just on cut gizzard shad. The only time I've caught some decent fish on shad is a flapper rig, something that puts a massive amount of scent in the water. That's kind of what I'm basing my theory on, you know, and that's why I freeze my slicker the way I do. I don't rinse them off and dry them before I pack them. I take them slime and all, wrap them in 2 paper towels, then freeze dry them, then vacuum seal them. I want to preserve all that slime, all the oil that I can get, because I really think I personally think that's the key to it. It's just, you know, it's a T-bone versus a filet mignon. It's 2 good cuts, but if you got the choice, you're gonna go for that filet.
That's kind of like me and Asian carp, and I know you know what Asian carp are because you're on that river and they're in it. But I take when I take the tenderloin part, what I call the tenderloin part out of the Asian carp, and you got all that liquid inside them, no matter if it's blood or whatever else it is. Yeah, and I put it all in a Ziploc bag, and I dump that carp up, and I let it all run out of right in that bag. Then I seal it up. I get it all.
I have caught some. I haven't fished with it a whole bunch, but the times I've fished with Asian carp, I have caught fish. And same thing. I cut, let's say, the back straps. I cut the back straps out, and again, Hagen Groves. I need to send that guy a Christmas card. I'll be honest with you, I really do. But same thing. I just like he did. I wring the tail, let it bleed out, cut it in some strips, and let it soak in that blood. And I haven't fished with it a whole bunch, but when I do, I always pick up a fish or 2 on it. You know, it works.
For me, and I know guys that use it year round in our area. Lucky James, he don't have none out there where he's at.
Y'all keep them where you at.
Yeah, you don't want
you a few if you want.
Yeah, but now for me, I know guys that use them year round and they catch fish on them year round. For me, they work better in the hotter part of the summer than they do any other time. Can you catch fish on them year round? You can catch fish on them year round, but the hotter the water is, seems like the better Asian carp work for me. But
makes sense.
I love the fact that when you put it on a hook, you cut it off because you ain't just taking it off. It stays on the hook.
They ain't no dink gonna take it. If a garfish can't take it off a hook, it's tough.
You got it, buddy.
You that.
That's a fact, you know. And it is good bait. And one of the reasons it's become such a good bait is because now it has become a natural bait for these fish that we have, blue flatheads and channels. Now, it takes a pretty good channel because they grow so fast, and channels would be out of the realm of being able to handle them pretty quick. But them blues can eat them when they get pretty good size and soaking them big old flatheads. And that's the only natural combatant we have against Asian carp.
Yeah, and we've got so many. It's just it's getting now to where if you pull in a boat behind a wing dike on the river, you better have a helmet on.
Yeah,
you fixing to get rained on.
Yep.
I've had jump in my boat before. I've had a massive one jump clean across my boat and nail my son in the side. You know, thank God we wasn't going fast, but I made him pay. I cut him for bait.
Cindy,
for that mistake.
When we're in them real bad, we'll zip the sides on the enclosure for her. So they don't get on it. Now, my enclosure on my boat, I can stand up in it, and there's probably 1.5 feet because I'm vertically challenged. Not as bad as James Dockery, but I'm short, but not as short as James. And I can stand up in it, and there's 1 foot or so above my head and the top of the enclosure. And I've had 30-pounders on top of that enclosure.
Dang right.
I've had them hit the front of the boat going wide open down the Illinois River so hard that it would turn you in the water.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people say, "Oh man, how big was that?" I said, "I don't have any idea." When it hit, I thought it was coming through the side of the boat. They're huge, and not all of them are that big. But even when they get to be 20 or 30 pounds, they can still get on top of the second bullet. They can still do
absolutely.
that. So
they say that them silver carp can actually grow to 100 pounds.
Oh yeah, there's no question.
I believe it.
100 pounds.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, nature evolves when things get tough. In one area, they start evolving to where they can adapt. Like the parrots, the macaw parrots. They eat the Brazil nuts. Well, the Brazil nuts has evolved to where they're too hard for the parrots to break. The cattle farmer feed the Brazil nuts to the cows to fill up their bellies. The cows poop them out. The Brazil nuts shells are soft, and the parrots go down there and eat. Makes me wonder, are our catfish going to start getting bigger and bigger to adapt to the size of food that's in their waters now?
That's one thing. They done all them studies when we was doing the tournaments. Them girls would come down and do the tournament stuff on the Mississippi River, and they would take samples of the catfish to determine what percentage of their diet consists of Asian carp, and it was quite a lot. And the protein factor in them is way up there. So that could be very possible. That's something that I don't believe they've done in the studies was to see if that would make them grow to where they could handle them. But I forgot now what the percentage was. I want to say it was 65% average of blue cat diet was Asian carp. And this was several years ago now, because there were so many of them in there and they were just eating them. And this done by grad students from Illinois State University.
Well, I tell you what, if the blue cats around here start getting big enough to eat some of the Asian carp we got, I'm gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, Jeremy, I don't want them to get that big. I just think they eat them to where they don't get that big, because a 30-pounder is huge. I don't know what I'd do if a 100-pounder jumped in a boat. I guess they could jump in the boat, but I don't want it in there.
They can. That's the thing. I mean, I've seen them probably close to that big. I've never had one jump in my boat that big, but I tell you, I've been running down that river and have something, slam into the side of my boat.
Yeah.
Hard. And I know that was a really big one. Never see it, but ain't no 30-pounder going to hit the side of that big boat that hard and make it shake like that.
Yeah, there's something else.
Flint Hill, I used to watch the daggone Discovery Channel back when it was a good channel to watch, in the History Channel, late at night. Good info on there. But that's where I got back to saying, take them blinders off, guys and gals, because a lot of times there's other info that might not even pertain to fishing that would steer you in a direction you never even thought.
Yep.
A lot of everybody, I hear catfishermen say, there ain't no way I'm going noodling. I'm not going to snatch them catfish out from underneath them veins. But watch them videos, guys, and you'll learn what season that they're actually noodling. And it might tell you where you might need to go set your freaking boat up to catch some of them big ass fish coming under them banks.
They're going. Look how many they catch in that shallow water under some boat ramps, and they got to wait for the guy to put the boat in so they can drag the fish out from underneath.
There you go.
Look how many times that happens.
Jeremy, I believe that around boat ramps where people put in and out of is one of the most overlooked places to fish there is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I've been
throw a cast net off the end of a boat ramp.
Absolutely. They throw bait out there, catch bait all the time. They're always
every time I put my boat in, I do it.
Yep. And James has been such a stickler on this shallow water, which I'm next spring, if it kills me, I'm going to catch a fish down in my area. I'm going to catch a fish out of 3 foot of water, one way or the other. I just, I know he fishes that shallow water all the time. I used to not, except up in Mendota when that's all that was up there, which will be there in spring. But yeah, I'm gonna work on the shallow water this year.
But shallow water also, Lyle, might be relative to your area. On our lakes, Wiley is probably the deepest part. We might have a couple of places that it gets down to 60 foot. It's different than Norman. Norman has a lot deeper water, but it also has a lot of water that is dead water that you just ain't gonna catch fish in. But I don't think that has anything to do with it. I mean, we're catching 30s and 40s in January, but the water was 50 degrees in January this year.
Yeah, it won't be 50 degrees in January.
No, I don't think it will be this coming year. I think we're gonna have a cold, wet winter, but Kevin, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, Kevin with Palmetto Cat says he caught a couple of big ones out of 3 foot water Friday night. That's awesome. Good to know. Now, Jeremy, what do you consider in your neck of the woods? What do you consider shallow water?
20 foot or less.
20 foot or less.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I've got some because on average, the Atchafalaya River is actually much deeper than the Mississippi is in our area. It flows, it flows so fast and it carves it out. We've got some holes out there that I've found that are 130 feet deep in the main channel.
Right.
This isn't eddy or anything like that. This is in the main channel. It's 130 feet. So 20 feet or less, yeah, I consider that shallow water versus what we normally when I'm anchor fishing, I'm minimum 60, 70 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, and
normal basis.
We learned that at Memphis because the part of the Mississippi River that I grew up fishing up northern Missouri, 30, 40, 50. There's one spot that it was around 85 foot, but it was around a pillar of a railroad bridge.
Yeah.
The rest of it's not like that. Very little 50 or 60 foot water. There's a lot of water, but it's not as deep. And we get down around Memphis and below. You hit them 120, 130 feet. I'm thinking, man, there's something wrong with this depth finder. It can't be right, but it is because pretty soon you'll run up out of that. And it amazes me that you'll nearly every time mark fish in the bottom of them big holes.
Oh, yeah. It's just about every time there's something down there. Now, for us, some of those areas are kind of hard to fish just because of how strong the current is in those areas. That's some things we're still figuring out how to do, but there's always something down there.
Yep.
Daggum Larry Moose would bump through it, wouldn't he?
Oh, Larry Muse thinks the deeper it is, the better he likes it. I'm telling you. Flint Hill Catfishing says, I called the 33-pound blue cat in a car at 40 yards from the boat ramp at Ebenezer Park on Lake Wiley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you figure, Lyle, January this year, I caught that 35-pounder, and I wasn't 20 yards from the boat ramp that I always launched from.
K and B says they caught a 31-pounder out of 2 foot of water on Santee last year.
Yep. So, but I agree. Some people, like Richard Warskop, he don't like fishing the shallow waters I do on the same lake. His shallow water is 10 foot. That's as shallow as he wants to go, but he's more of a deep water fisherman. It all comes down to what your confidence level is in the things that you do.
That's right.
It ain't that it don't work. It ain't that the fish ain't there. But if you don't have confidence in it, you're more likely not to catch as many fish doing something like that as somebody that does.
Yeah, I just seen a post here from Paula Smith, and now I can't find it, but I believe it said she considers 10 foot and under shallow water, and then K&B was 15, but hell, Paula's post is gone. I can't find it now.
I've caught them up there.
Where we were fishing for the tournament, I consider that shallow water because it was right at 20 feet deep. Right. And it was strange for us hooking a fish, reeling 4 or 5 times, and poof, he's at the boat.
Yeah.
That's we're not used to that.
Yeah.
Well, when I fish shallow like that, I'm putting long lines out. I'm throwing up against the banks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. My biggest fish like this year come off probably 2 foot away from the bank. He was probably in 1 foot of water. but the sun was beating on that water that day. It was heating that water up in them muddy, daggum shallows like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think them big cats is coming up there, letting that sun heat their back up, like laying out in the sun.
Yep.
And absorbing some of that daggum UV heat and getting ready to eat. And he took a bass head, a largemouth bass off about a 2-pound dead bass that was bigger than you fished. I mean, so there you go. It's what you got to have confidence in. In your neck of the woods down there, 20 foot, that's where you feel comfortable. There's where you're catching the fish. Lyle, your shallow water, you said what, 20 foot?
Yeah, that's right. And I see on here that Mark with Catfish and Crappie said 10 foot is a deep hole to him. And I'm assuming he's talking about the Fox River up in Illinois.
Right.
But yeah, 20 foot for me. My favorite that I look and try to target fish in for whatever reason, and I know it's right here, is 30 to 45 feet of water. That's my favorite depth to catch fish out of. Well, one thing, you rarely have to worry about burping them.
Yeah.
You rarely have to worry about that. And for some reason, I find a lot of fish in those depths. So that's why I look for them. But there's a Ratfish 1000, someone new to our channel. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Most of the rivers he fishes 5 to 10 foot. That is, if that's a pretty shallow river, I'd say.
That's in jet boat rivers.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes the same thing with the size of fish also. I know for a fact we've got a ton of massive fish in our river. So, of course, I'm going to set the bar for me much higher than someone, let's say, who doesn't have blues in their waters, but they catch 20, 30-pound channel cat. Well, that is a monster fish for them in that body of water. Whereas where I start being really happy with fish is 50 pounds. That's my bar. That's my trophy because we just have so many big ones. I'm blessed enough to have a spot that's got that many big fish in it where that's what I need to be catching to be impressive, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like that everywhere.
In my mind, and everybody's mind is different, we all want to catch those big fish. But for me, anything over 25 pounds is a trophy.
Yeah, it's a nice
fish. Even 20.
You better believe it.
Even 20. There's people that fish their whole entire life and never catch a 20-pound fish.
Yeah, that's right.
Feel very fortunate that we are capable of doing that. I won't say every time we go out because we don't do it every time we go out. But
no, absolutely not.
Sometimes we catch 20-pound fish unless we're not targeting them, and then sometimes you still catch them. If you go out and catch Eden-sized fish, for some reason you're always going to get one or two that you got to throw back, which makes for great video.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun to catch them. But if I'm targeting eating-sized fish, personally, I'm looking at 5 pounds or in that neighborhood fish because in my mind, they're the best eating. You're not going to hurt the population. And especially at Lake of the Ozarks and Truman, the conservation department wants you to catch those size fish and take them out of there because there's so many of them.
Well, Lyle, in that one video I made, you saw what my dad considers an eating size fish.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when you did that.
You know what? They don't have to be very big to eat.
Nope.
They don't. And I used to have a guy tell me all the time, he'd come stop in, said, "You go fishing over the week?" I said, "Yeah." Didn't catch nothing but a bunch of little ones. He said, "How little?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, 12 inches. He said, "They bite that hook?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "They're big enough to eat."
You daggum right.
I used to laugh at him, but he wanted me to bring them to him. He didn't care how small they were. If you
8 to 10 inch salt and pepper cat, son, I'll pile a daggum table full of bones.
Oh, they're
I
great.
ain't kidding. Pull that little old top fin off, the bottom fin off, bite the tail off of it.
That's how I grew up eating fish. Dad was insulted if we would ask him to fillet a fish. That wouldn't happen. Even when he was catching 15, 16-inch sac-a-lait in a little small lake by the house, oh no, he went out and bought a pan big enough to fry them whole. He refused. He was not filleting those fish. It wasn't happening. And he's
That's like them big old bluegill and sacralay or crappie. I don't fillet. That's a waste of meat, boy.
It is.
If they say, well, the meat won't get done, then you just take it like a big old flounder and you cut a couple slices in that meat like that so it fries all the way through. No, I don't waste no meat.
Well, Jeremy, we went over fishing down in your area a little bit. Why don't you tell us about your equipment that you use, your boat and your rods, reels, hooks, different stuff that you and Lord and your family catch with?
The boat that I fish of, it's a brand new boat that I bought. I just got it this past June. It's the first boat that I have ever owned for myself. It's a 2020 Triton 2072 Big John boat. You know, it's a big 20-foot wide, 72-inch bottom, center console John boat. Got a 115 four-stroke Mercury on it. And I set it up, and I got all the ideas off of Keith's Fishing Stuff channel. But I built those same split rod racks that he built for that friend of his. I run double anchors. I've got my 2 bags with 300 feet of anchor rope and a Lowrance Elite 9 TI2 graph on it. And that's very important for me because Navionics does no good down here. There's nothing in the rivers for Navionics. I have the Genesis Live mapping so I can map the areas myself and make my own contour maps. You know, that's been a real big kick for us.
I can see where that would be a lifesaver for you.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. And, you know, we've found a lot of areas that nobody. I say I didn't know about them. I'm not gonna say nobody knew, but you know, holes and cuts and drop offs that I didn't know was there, thanks to that graph. You know, it made a big difference. As far as rods and reels, I've got 5 right now. Well, really 6, counting my bumping rod. But I've got 5 rods that I anchor with. I've got 2 B&M Silver Cat Magnums. I've got 1 B&M Elite, and I've got 2 they're brand new rods. 2 of Chris Flores's Blue Cat rods that my wife bought for me about 2 weeks ago. I hadn't even hardly got them dirty yet. I use all on my anchoring rods. I use all pin reels. I have the Pin Warfare reels in the 20 size. You know, that way I have the line capacity on.
Right. And
then for my bumping rod, it's a little cheap setup that I bought just to see if I liked it. But it's an 8-foot Academy Pro Cat rod, medium heavy, with a little Ambassador 5600 STX on it with some braided line. And needless to say, it got to work out Saturday. That poor thing. It's tired right about now.
Yeah, from what I understand, bumping, you want a light setup anyway because you're going to be working that rascal all day long. So you need something light that ain't going to wear your arms out. Do you use, Lyle, a longer rod like that, an 8-foot rod for bumping, or is shorter better? I mean, I don't know. I don't have a clue.
In my mind, and for most of what everybody that wants them, 7'6" for some reason is the magic number. I've built some 7-foot ones and some 6.5-foot ones for people that was like James Dockery, vertically challenged. I know that I had built Jason Mathena some 10-foot graphite rods.
Wow.
He used them for bumping. But now understand, Jason is 6'5", and at the time weighed over 400 pounds. He's lost a ton of weight. We're so proud of him, man. He looks awesome, but he's still 6'5".
Yeah,
right.
But yeah, he's used them before for bumping, and several times he liked using them because they were so sensitive. But 7'6" is the optimal length. But you can make them any length you want. You can make them 8 foot or whatever. I prefer 7'6", and I think one of the reasons, I'll give you guys some information if you're buying, selling, wanting rods and stuff. 8 foot is the cutoff. Anything that's 8 foot or longer, they rape you on shipping. If it's under 8 foot, you save a lot of money, and I think that's attributes a lot to the popularity of the 7 foot 6. I can get them, or I can cut one and make it 7 foot 10. Whatever. It doesn't matter. In my business, you make them the way people want them.
Right.
But the 10 foot, I would absolutely wouldn't sell anybody a 10 foot unless it was 2-piece, simply because anything over 8 foot pretty much got to be shipped by truck. So it's a minimum of $350 to get it to me, and then the same to ship it to you before we ever start working on it.
Wow.
So you're getting up into the $800-900 range for a 10-foot 1-piece rod, or 14-foot or 1-piece and stuff like that. So I just don't do them. Because I feel if somebody wants one, I'd feel guilty about it. And I'm just not going to do it. So,
but most people that ask for them rods, they willing to pay that daggum extra for shipping, probably.
Tell me why not? I'll pay it. And I just can't do it.
I know.
So
I'm not gonna lie. My decision on my length for that 8 foot rod was based solely on the fact that when I went in Academy to buy it, the one I have, I guess, is the mid-grade. It's got a lot of graphite in it. It makes it a much lighter rod. Somebody must have looked at it, picked it up, and put it down in the wrong rack that was priced for $40 instead of $60. So I picked that one up and said, hey, look, it was in the $40 rack, and they gave it to me for $40.
There you go.
That was my decision on 8 foot. So not a lot of thought went into it.
I'm going to promise you that won't happen at this place.
Yeah.
At Lyle's place.
Yeah, it won't happen.
There ain't no discount being at Lyle's shop, Arnold.
Well, it just I told this before, and people look at me like I'm green or something, but the blanks that we use to build bumping rods on, they cost me nearly $100.
Well, yeah.
Right.
And I've got to buy a gross of them at a time. Well, I can't get them now like that, but they want you to buy 144 of them, 100 minimum at a time. And it's hard to do that. But right now, we're having so much problem getting stuff, even stuff made in the United States, because everybody's so far behind. They're buying the stuff that's made here, and there's a waiting list for everything. 4.5
for everything.
Months, 4.5 months that some blanks that I had that was made in China set out on a ship before they ever unload them. 4.5 months, and I wasn't screaming at them, but one of the suppliers that I buy from in California, they haven't opened their doors for over 3 months, so I don't know if they're coming back or not. There's nothing you can do about it. But I look for a lot of this after tomorrow. I think you're going to see a lot of things ease up one way or the other. I think they will.
One way or another.
Well, with that being said, Lyle, and I ain't getting political, everybody, please do your part as an American and go vote if you have.
I agree.
And I'll leave it at that.
Doesn't matter who you vote for.
Exactly right. Do your duty as an American citizen and go vote.
It's a privilege to be able to vote, and you should take full advantage of that.
Well, I kind of look at it as an obligation.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. Creole, now, got all them big crawdads down there. Do you ever use them for your bait?
Absolutely. I actually grew up, a very young age. Myself, my dad, my uncle, my older cousins, we would go out on the banks at that same hydroelectric plant where we were bumping at, and we would try to go tight lining them rocks for goop, for freshwater drum. Freshwater drum. Really, really good eating fish. And we'd fish them with live crawfish. And there has been many, many, many occasions where we would hook a pretty nice yellowcat on those live crawfish. They love them down here. That's a very, very good yellowcat bait. Is a big live crawfish if you can keep a goo from getting to it first.
The what?
But it makes a really good bait.
If you can keep what from getting to them first?
The goo, the freshwater drum.
Oh,
that's
I've not heard them call that, but
some people call them Gasper goop, but
I call them trash fish.
Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If I take a good fresh goose, cook it in a good red gravy, I'm telling you, if I put that on top of your head, your tongue would beat your brains out trying to get to it.
You would have to do something to
telling
make, because I've tried them things every way in the world, and man, they're nasty.
You don't know what you missed.
I guess.
You don't know what you
Hey,
missed.
I seen you cook up that stuff, so I'm not doubting you none. That stuff I seen you cook, that gravy stuff down there that night, oh man, I was wanting to come down there, wind, rain, sleet, or snow. I didn't care.
That's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying in the live feed. I'm like, I wish y'all could smell this through my phone.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
But that's why we all look like the way we do. There's a price to pay for that.
Yeah, full figure. That's right.
It's not
all skinny and stuff, but yeah,
it's not a health food.
It's not. K&B says we're making him hungry.
We always talk about food.
What is it about that?
We do. Always comes down to food.
Killing me. Anybody that is full figured, the topic of food always comes up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come up.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm scared to slow down, because I love to eat. If I'd slow down, hot dang, I'd pump up like Santa Claus.
Well, yeah.
Hagen Grubb said, I like that guy. He talking about Goop and Slickers. He likes him.
I swear.
Hagen, he likes you too.
I think half my subscribers just like hearing me talk and laughing at me with the crazy stuff I say. I know Betty Jean's told me so many times, like, what? What did he just say? And I don't realize I'm doing it. I talk funny, I know.
That old boy I told you I worked with down there, and his brother, he fished back there in some of them old swamp waters. And he showed me films of his brother standing up on the front of a flat bottom John boat with a long handle, driving an outboard motor, standing at the front of his boat, jumping logs and everything else, and never letting off of it. I thought, this son of a gun's crazy. Yeah, and coming back with 2 gators. He's going gator hunting that day. He showed me the video. I said, that son of a gun's crazy. He said, yeah, he's crazy. I don't go with him because he's crazy.
That's one of the things that I don't think I would like about the Southland. Them alligators. I just something about that I'm just not real comfortable about. You know what I mean?
Them 45s will keep them out of the boat.
They don't really bother anything. I mean, look, y'all saw in that one I did, that little bitty one. He was curious and kept coming to the back of the boat before my wife had to shoot.
I watched that.
But I really think the only reason he did that is that grain elevator's right there, and I think them guys that work there probably throw some stuff in the water and feed him. That's probably. He was out. And she kept telling me, "Give him some of your chicken. Give him some of your chicken." I'm like, "He ain't getting my bait. Giving my bait to no alligator."
I watch OSK catching them crappie, and them gators come right nearly up to his boat. And I'm thinking, dude, I don't know how you do that. I'd have to be heading out. The
one mistake you don't want to make is if a little bitty one comes to the boat and you grab him and he starts squealing.
Yeah.
And then what you thought was a log 100 feet away starts coming to you.
That's mama.
Then you got a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to go.
I just think I'm going to leave him alone, period. Carl Wells, welcome to Catfish Weekly. I haven't seen you in the chat for a while.
Yeah, he just sent me a message. Had some questions.
Well, if you guys have any questions for Jeremy, get them out here so we can get them to him. Because at the end of the show tonight, I have just a little bit of something that we're going to try here to let everybody. I got a surprise for you. We'll put it that way.
If anything, I may have to translate some of the stuff that I say.
Right.
You know, I went to school with a couple of girls from Louisiana, and I'm trying to think of the name of the town that they live in down there. I can't think of their names. I can think of their names, but I can't think of the name of the town they live in.
What was their last name? I could probably tell you where they're from.
Farrell, originally.
So we have some Farrells around central Louisiana.
Well, dang it. I should know
that's been my whole that's been my whole thing since I started. Since I decided to start filming for YouTube, was it ain't about us and trying to show off how good a fisherman we are, which we're not. But I felt, when I was looking through YouTube, I would see guys from Ohio, from Missouri, from Kentucky, from Illinois, and I'm like, where's the people from Louisiana? Where are they? I don't see them on YouTube. And then once I got started, I found a few others from kind of around my area, not many, and I kind of decided that, well, man, our area just isn't represented in YouTube. So I said, well, you know what? We go do something about it. So I just, started throwing videos up, and because I stand by what I say. I think we have the best fishery in the country. I stand by that all day long.
Go ahead.
Slidell was named that town.
Yeah. Slidell. That's just across the lake from New Orleans.
That could be.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea, but I always told them if I ever was in a tournament in the state of Louisiana, we'd have to get together because they moved up here, went to school with us for several years, then moved back. And then Charlotte ended up being the head over top of the nursing home where my mother was at before she passed away. And then she moved back down there with the rest of her family. And there was 2 girls. There's actually 3 of them, but the 2 of them I knew really well. And they're great folks. They really are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, Creole, what I was going to say is that you might want to add outdoors to your name, simply because there are so much stuff that I've listened to you talk about and doing that outdoors that would really expand your channel. Simply because if you're not finding much from Louisiana fishing on YouTube, then that might be a little niche that you can kind of narrow into that will cause your channel to take off.
Well, I'm going to correct myself a little bit. There is a ton of YouTube stuff from Louisiana for sac-a-lay fishing, brim fit, catfishing in specific. There was nothing there. As far as outdoors channels goes, YouTube is flooded with guys from Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
But it was the trophy catfishing part. I'm like, the only other YouTuber I know that trophy catfishes, and I've never seen him in any of our chats. I'm not sure if he films anymore. His channel name is Father Slime, and less than 1,000 subscribers. He fishes the same water as I do, and a few months ago, he caught what he thought was a state record. Ended up weighing 109 pounds, and it was released at a boat ramp 500 feet from where I was fishing the tournament at.
Oh, wow.
Dang right.
And
it's all on film. It's on his channel. He's the only other one on YouTube that I know of anywhere near our area that does what we do. That's it. It's I find that YouTube is flooded with the more of the northern states.
Right.
I said, hey, gotta represent.
Well, I know bass fishing is big down there also. So and I knew there had to be tons of that down there.
Toledo Bend. Toledo Bend is right there by the house. It's one of the biggest, most popular lakes in the country. When you talk about bass fishing and sac-a-lay fishing too.
Toledo Bend's one of the biggest tournaments in the BA. Well, it ain't even BASS no more.
Absolutely, and
FLW.
That's just across the state from where I can be in Toledo Bend in 2 hours from my house. It's not very far, and I've never fished it in my life.
Did I ever tell you guys what I bought over the weekend?
I don't think so.
Let me hang tight. Can you see that?
Oh,
what is it?
It's like a bait cooler to me.
That right there is the ultimate bait cooler. Now, by ultimate bait cooler, I mean when I'm done with it.
I think he cut himself off, Creole. He'll be back.
When he stops talking and realizes we're not there, he'll get it.
I'm back.
There you
go.
There we go.
He got so excited.
I just wanted everybody to know that my bait cooler is going to be heads and tails better than anything Dockery ever had. Ever had. Now,
here we go.
Now, James Dockery talks a mean bait tank. His bait cooler should have been mine to start with, and Chad Fields wanted it, and I should have got it, and we've argued and fought over that the entire time. But James Dockery's bait cooler won't make a pimple on this one's butt. And speaking of James Dockery,
look at him. What's up, Trouble?
So let me see if I get this straight. You take an old what is it? A milk cooler from the 1800s, early 1900s, maybe. I mean, something like that. I'm not. I'd have to read up on a little bit of history of when they actually introduced this electricity stuff that we use nowadays.
I didn't pay somebody to paint mine and put decals on it and all that stuff. You know,
hey, I didn't pay anybody to do any of this stuff. This is from DMF Baits, buddy.
Yeah. You're paying them or something. They're not going to give you one of them to hang out. They were supposed to give it to me anyhow. So now I had to go out and get one. But when I get done, it's going to have the Dockery Award image on it. It's going to be the bait cooler everybody's going to want.
So how wide is that door?
Probably 2 foot.
So make those Krampus Cane ice fishing rod stickers 2 foot. They'll go right across that door.
Now look. Girls, you're both pretty. Okay.
It's not about being pretty, Jeremy.
Oh, hell no, it's not.
Over on James.
that ship has sailed. Trust me.
It has.
Creole, we might as well sign off this show because this show's over here to the left of us right now.
Oh no!
This is why we can't have anything nice in the catfish sport. It's because I get something nice and then everybody has to go and copy it. You had what, 150, 200 years, Lyle, to get you a bait cooler, and you just now decide to get one?
I never wanted one till you had one.
Hey, James, you'd think Santa Claus would have got his own a long time ago, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
See, even them elves won't build him one.
I never had a desire to one till you had one, and then I had to have one. I just had to have it.
See, everybody.
You know, James, I just thought about it. I'm glad you're here. It reminded me. I still need to send you my 3 B&M Silver Cat rods so you can autograph them for me.
I'll do it. You send them to me. Send them right to me. Send them to me. Well, he was talking about, what did you say that the freshwater drum were?
Goop.
Trash fish.
Silver cats.
Yeah, that's what
I'm pushing. Well, hey, that's what they are. I know more and more people are already starting to call them silver cats. So you guys might as well just get on board with it. I mean, come on. You got Chad and Betty calling flatheads shovelheads. So
that's a spoon bait.
That's just wrong.
That's no.
And then Creole calls skipjack slickers.
Slickers. Yeah.
Slickers. So
crappy sacrilege.
I got to tell you, James, Hagen Grubb thinks that's pretty cool. So you can't really think too much about it if Hagen thinks it's funny.
Well,
do you really want me to go through the entire list of the names we have for everything?
One of these nights we're going to have you do that.
The show, you would need an hour-long show.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. We can can all set this up where we can pull in this big, huge catfish council thing, and we can, we'll fix you up right, and you can teach us all the cuss words, from the French and stuff like that,
I don't want to know any of them.
No.
They come in very handy when you don't want anybody to know what you're saying.
Well, I will tell you, and I can tell that Jeremy wasn't paying attention in chat a while ago because he's in a little bit of trouble tonight.
I'm sure I'm always in trouble.
Well, his wife asked when he was going to take that trash out.
Oh, we missed that one in chat.
So I'm telling you, Jeremy, you need to take that trash out.
But girl, what you were saying, different names, and in the state of Louisiana, a lot of times them different names are from state to state. But in Louisiana, it's from area to area of what them names might be.
Oh yeah,
that could be.
If you cross the Red River into North Louisiana, it is no longer sac-a-lait. It's white perch.
Yep.
That's what they call them. 40 miles north of me.
So when did it become crappie?
Perch.
I mean, out east they're crappie. Down there they're sac-a-lait. When did they become crappie, James?
They've always been crappie. Even when I lived in Texas, they were crappie.
Yeah.
Crappie.
Or according to you, James, it's all bait.
Yep.
Well, that ain't
exactly right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with him. Anything is fair game.
Yeah, you daggone right. If it swims, this game is bait.
I'm not ashamed of putting anything on a hook. If it'll catch a fish, I don't care what it is.
Do you have regulations down there that what you can and can't use?
As far as what we can use, absolutely not. As long as you catch it legally, which I cannot keep a game fish that I catch in a cast net.
Right.
But if you catch it legally, it don't matter what it is.
I wish we had them.
Oh man, you both.
It does not matter.
Because I would make a practice out of bass fishing just to use them for bait.
Yep.
And I'd post pictures of it every day.
Yep.
But now I don't use the trophy bass or trophy crappie or nothing like that. Because if it's good size crappie, it's going into. But the heads of it is all fair game.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I could make more people mad using them little bitty bass.
Hey, them little 10-inch largemouth make killer live baits, buddy, because that's some
they do.
lively rice.
Well, see, Papa Ed, he was talking about they call them paper mouse. Now I've heard them called paper mouse.
I have too.
Yeah,
I've heard that before too.
Yep.
So
even around here, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
But
it's like I was explaining to somebody. I forget what chat we were in or what discussion we were having, but I made the mistake of saying bec fin. I said bec fin. Of course, everybody. What? Well, bec fin is French for thin beak. It's a long nosed gar.
Never heard that one.
That's what we.
No, that's a new one on
long
me.
nosed gar is some bec fin. Because we have
I can tell you.
Gar too.
I can tell you what I call gar, but I mean this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Rank right up there with them drum, don't they? Yeah.
Hey, I like them drum. You leave them alone.
Them dog cracks.
Yeah.
I've had gar, and gar's good.
Alligator gar is. Yeah, long nose.
Little small chunks, deep fried in rascals.
Yeah.
They're good.
I ain't eating that.
If I had to eat one fish only for the rest of my life, it would be alligator gar. I'm
wow.
right now.
That's a statement.
I'm sure chat's going to blow up. Everybody's going to be mad at me for saying that, but one fish for the rest of my life, alligator gar. Hands down, no arguments, don't have to think about it.
Wow.
Yep.
I had to say bluegill or crappie.
No. They're good.
Yeah, I like bluegill and crappie both. I'd be right in there with you, James. I'm
gonna have to say crappie.
Yeah, crappie's good. And I love these guys that are big walleye fans, and there's nothing wrong with eating walleye. They're great eating fish, but they don't make a pimple on a crappie's behind.
And people that love these trout, I don't care one lick about
I don't either.
No,
I've ate them before, and I've had just like the drum. I've had them fixed every possible conceivable way, and it don't matter how you fix them; they're just nasty.
They're beautiful fish, and they're fun to catch.
Yeah, but as far as eating them, no.
Yeah,
I guess by starving, you know.
Bowen, your son says drum are some of the best tasting fish.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, that white perch.
Or what?
Well, yeah, but that's beside the point.
You must have shoved his head in that bait cooler door.
He wasn't even around when I got this thing. He's not even allowed to touch it when it comes in the house. It's on the other side of the room. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I don't trust him.
Somebody said flatheads in Mississippi are called tabbies. Never heard that.
I haven't
either.
I've heard some guys in Louisiana call them
They used to call them Appaloosas around here a long time ago. I haven't heard anybody use that term in a long time either.
That's an old name too that I grew up hearing. Appaloosa's cat or yellow cat because they.
Yeah, but see, you say yellow. Cat, you say yellow cat, and I think automatically of bullheads.
No, because they around here they have a yellowish color to them because of the real muddy water. They don't get that dark brown like what y'all get.
I think the reason that James thinks of mud cats and bullheads and yellow cats all being the same is because they're shaped like him, short and stumpy.
That's right. Lyle, don't make me put up that picture of us. I got that picture. You can actually tell the difference between the two of us.
Yeah, but I had to stand in a hole.
No, you were not standing in a hole.
Yeah, but you know what, James? I do. Look, I feel your pain because myself, I am the shortest person in my family.
Yeah, but you look pretty tall.
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, you're the shortest one?
Holy I'm the shortest one.
James, we better not go down there without the back.
Yeah, Lyle, that's enough of that now.
my dad is 6'3", and my brother is 6'6".
Yeah, we're gonna have to back up. We go down there. I can see that.
Yeah, we got Chad. All we got to do is just slow him down enough that Jeremy can take care of him. We can, grab the food and run, Lyle.
Kick him in the leg. They're gonna take the first one they come to, and if it's Chad, me and you be gone.
Sorry.
Well, I got a feeling y'all two old farts ain't gonna be running too daggum fast.
I can push Lyle in his wheelchair.
Very fast. I'm not going to be going very far either.
We just have to make sure that it's on on top of a hill. That way, I can push Lyle in his wheelchair, and I can jump on the back, and we just ride our bus right
there
down.
You go. Oh, I'm gonna call y'all what the wife calls me, two handy tards.
Oh man.
Oh, a bunch of hobbits growing in the Giants village.
KFC says he's got my back. He's 10 foot tall, James, so I'm covered.
They ain't stacking it that high, and you know it.
Oh,
we have a
kids and a bunch of hobbits.
Situations.
What's that?
We have a saying. Ça c'est plein mat. I'm not gonna translate it, but
I've heard it.
Y'all are full of.
Yeah.
James, I cannot imagine that anybody would think you and I, of all people, would be full of it.
No. We're right up front. Yeah,
down on the front row.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We got special seats in the whole 9 yards, Lyle.
That's exactly right.
Looks like gator bait to me.
Jeremy, I want to thank you for being a part of our show tonight. We've absolutely had a blast having you on.
It was an honor, man. I'm telling you. I can off my bucket list now.
The things that you shared with us was outstanding, and we had a wonderful time. I hope that you'll consider coming back on and visiting with James and I at some point.
Anytime, trust me.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Dockery.
You guys make sure you go and check out Jeremy's bumping video he's got.
Absolutely.
He has landed some massive fish.
Great. And check out the rest of them, too, because they are family friendly and they are family oriented. Him, his wife, and his boys, and his brother, his dad, they all fish together. Extremely quality entertainment, and you will find it very good. And Jeremy, tell people how they can find you on YouTube and Facebook.
Very easy. Creole Catfishing. You look me up, give us a holler, and like I said, we try to put out good stuff for everybody. It's always a member of my family with us. I don't ever fish by myself. We're always laughing in the boat, and we've got some more stuff coming that I plan on doing a little later this year that hopefully will be even more funny and entertaining than what we're already doing. I'm trying to plan a trip for me and my two best friends.
Oh, that'd be fun.
35 years to be in the boat. We might not catch a fish, but it's going to be a hoot if I can get those two guys together in the boat.
That'll be a lot of fun. Laura, thank you so much for letting him come on and be a part of the show. I wished you'd have jumped in there with him. Next time we'll make that happen because, like I say, family shows, family events, men, women fishing teams, plays right into where we all should be, what we all should be thinking
That's
about.
right.
Exactly right.
James
exactly
Dockery,
right.
thanks for being a part of having some fun tonight. We enjoy having you on here whenever you find yourself available. Take care of my bait tank and be nice to Katie, will you please?
Yes, sir.
We'll see ya.
But Creole, wow,
Sure.
we need to get together and schedule with him one day and do a little more scheduled type of show as far as the different information from these areas
Sure.
of catfish. You know, we kind of done a general type of information show tonight, but I would like to get in, do one night, and maybe bring somebody in place of James Dockery over onto the West Coast.
I
was insinuating, James.
I am right here, James. Right here.
I have just a guy who lives in California.
Oh,
That would be awesome, and I know that he'd be happy to do it. And then we could cover the South, the Midwest, the East, and the West Coast.
That'd be a lot of fun. I look forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, and you guys will love him. He's been on the show before. I fish a lot with tournaments and stuff with him. He travels all over the place. It'd be a great deal to have him on here. And I think that we'd all thank you for subscribing to Creole Catfishing, Bull, and we appreciate that. I know that he does.
I appreciate it. And look, I wouldn't be anywhere without y'all support. Everybody in chat has just been from day one. First day I ever showed up on Catfish Weekly Live. Y'all shouted me out one of the first times I ever went in. Y'all always been supporting me every day, you know, and pushing me to be better. You know, pushing me to make more videos, work harder at it. And I'm so appreciative of all the support. It's just, I can't say it enough. I really can't.
You know, I told you here a while back that you had become part of the catfishing family. You was stuck with us, whether you like it or not. And I know James Dockery and James Smith can both attest to that once you become part of the family, you have to rip yourself away from us, because we're going to keep on you for as long as it's possible. And we're all going to have
just remember, y'all are stuck with me too now.
That's okay. I think we can deal with that. I think we'll be all right with that.
Lyle, we done got of age. We pretty good judge of character, and I judge this character a pretty good man right here.
Right here. I appreciate that, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I want
sir.
to thank everybody for watching Catfish Weekly tonight. Be sure to tune in next Monday night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, and we'll be back with another guest, or we just may talk amongst ourselves. You never know. I've been wanting to do an open mic night on Catfish Weekly. I see a lot of the other channels are doing that. I would like to try that. And now next week I will be here, and then the following Wednesday I'll have that surgery. Thank you guys for your concerns. I do appreciate that. And the Monday after that we're on the line. We don't know how that's going to play out, but James will be here regardless. And
what day would that be? Would that be the 16th?
I believe it will, and I think we have a guest schedule for that.
Yep, 16th. We got somebody planned.
Yep.
So,
I'll pull it up right quick, and I can tell everybody. Let's see. Yeah, the 9th. I don't have anybody scheduled for the 9th.
Right.
The 16th we do. And
well, the 9th would be a good open mic night.
The 16th. The 16th, Combat Carl will be on the show. Whether I'm here or not, Combat Carl live with James Smith should be a fun show. They'll have a blast. I feel like being in here. And even if I don't, I may just sit here with my mouth shut, or I may call James Dockery up, and him and I will BS while they do the show.
Yep. He's going to be live on the boat.
Live from the boat. So that'll be a great show. So again, thank you guys for joining our show. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see everybody next Monday night on Catfish Weekly.
Good night, everybody.